Ladies and gentlemen, I've been working on something that you can do against the mass void ray spamming that many protons are doing on the ladder, and I will show you these ways. I took some notes of a strat that I was thinking about that I tried in the ESL Americas Open, and I failed. However, I noticed that maybe there was a way to improve this strategy and meet with success, and I will show you these ways. I'll just take my point of view for the match and I'll talk you through it. Zergs can fight the protons. It may seem tough, and it is tough, but StarCraft is tough, so par for the course. We embrace the challenges that are ahead of us. AGLHF, whether our opponent is Proton, Terran, or Zerg, going to get this. That was a bold move. We cut it pretty close there. The probe almost blocked us, but it didn't. I like that. So I'm feeling pretty good now. I got to take my natural at the natural. 18 gas, 17 pool, drone, drone. Drone, drone. Rallied into the gas. The overlord at the natural watches for cannon bullshit, and so on. Next egg gets rallied into the gas. The 20 drone gets rallied to the natural. Then we go 20 overlord. We have one forward overlord and the other overlord is at home. Double queen, 4 lings. Scout the natural, see what's happening there. Pulling 2 workers off gas, taking ling speed. I see a chrono boosted unit. Could be an adept, could be a stalker. Could be a sentry. Lings escort the drone to take a third base in case there's a probe building pylons. Inject main, inject nat. What about creep tumor at the nat? That's fine if you want to do that. Both queens go down here to help put pressure on any adept that goes to attack. 3 minutes in, I send the overlord in. But Neuro, what if it dies to a stalker? Ladies and gentlemen, the year is 2021, and protons are playing Void Ray basically every game. So this overlord is going to die in 99% of games. So you may as well have the overlord die gloriously in battle, rather than just to try to run away from the Protoss and die with their back facing their opponent. Oscar is a bold overlord. He fears not death, nor the of the Void Ray. Because Oscar knows that he has one of the most important jobs on the team. To scout the type of bullshit the Proton is going to go for. So my opening is, I would say, decent out of 10. It's not perfect, but we got the 3 base setup. We got queens out. Lings are trying to poke around here. And what did Oscar see in the main base? Probably visit that later. Lings are pressuring this. The opponent has 1 Void Ray, 1 Oracle, 1 Adept. It was a Void Ray. Incredible. We inject everything. We need to get a spore there. There we go. Making another queen. And these lings, one thing that I'm working on is just trying to be a detective with these lings. I don't really want to trade them for damage. Most Protoss players at this level know how to make a Void Ray, which allows them to take a third base. So I can respect that. But I can still poke around and scout with the lings. Since we're in a Void Ray meta now, the scouting job for me goes more to the speedlings rather than an overlord or an overseer. And in this case, I'm doing something different than what I normally do. Normally, I go Laren and Roach Warren, but this map is what's called fucking large. And for a map like this, you have a lot more time to make units in reaction to stuff. And since the opponent went for a third base, Void Ray, and they're being mostly passive, I figured, hey, it would be pretty safe for me to just get double upgraded lings. Worst comes to worst, they do some kind of attack, and I have 1/1 LingBane to fight it. In this case, they're going for the most standard style of the era, which is double Stargate Void Ray. So what do? We go double upgrades. Double upgrades and spam queens. If you go Roachhorn, you also spam queens. I've had to do some rethinking of the matchup because in the past, the Hydra used to be my go-to unit. You just make a bunch of Hydras and you kick ass. And you can go Hydra Ling Bane, or you can go Roach Hydra. But Hydras got nerfed a bunch of times, and then Legacy of the Void added a bunch of units that do really well against Hydras, Disruptors, High Templar, upgraded carriers. Even Void Rays do decently against them. Charge Zealots, Archons. It's just a tough time to be a Hydra. So, I'm going for Mass Lings, Mass Queens. Queens to defend the Void Ray, Lings to basically contest the 4th base. If you look at the mini-map, you can see I have a Ling at each 4th base location. That's a very crucial piece in this puzzle. I have 70 workers. I'm just trying to get 3-base saturation. Full 3-base saturation. I'm not talking like you have 6 gases. Look at the numbers there. 19 mining minerals at the 3rd. 17. We're in the red at the natural. 18 in the main. I'm rich. 72 workers against 56. So the more time the Protoss gives me, the more of an income lead I have. I'm adding spores. Trying to keep my bases injected. Now I made a bunch of Lings as I hit 3-base saturation, in case there's a ground attack or something. Look at that! I see with the watchtower, there's a bunch of red dots heading over to this 4th base. What could it be? Oh my goodness, it's Void Rays. Who could have anticipated this? No one, not even God. Actually, anyone could have. They killed the base, I could have canceled that. So, mistake. But the Proton has a problem now. And the problem is they have shit for a ground army. They have an Adept and they have 4 Zealots. And that's it. And these Lings have 1/1, which means they're more ferocious than unupgraded Lings by 2 upgrades. And one of the cool things about Lings is they benefit from upgrades really well because you can make so many of them. It's a pretty cool feature. It's a very cheap unit. It's a 25 mineral, 1 larva or half larva unit. But you can get a 1/1 melee and carapace on it, which is crazy. And the carapace upgrade makes it pretty annoying for the Void Rays to kill him. So what I'm gonna do is, anytime the Void Rays are out messing with me, I'm gonna run in with the Lings and mess with them. Did you hear that sound? That's the Spire being done. What are you gonna do with the Spire, Neuro? Don't Void Rays counter Corruptors? Yes. But I can make some flip-flaps. Let's take a look at our opponent's mechanics, just out of curiosity. So our opponent has 3 Nexus on the 4 key, the Stargates on the 5 key, and Void Ray Archon Zealot on the 2 key. With the Stasis Trap. Great. Adding in gateways. So this is going to be the... You make 2 Stargate Void Ray and then you switch into ground. These Lings aren't really able to get in. So I do lose those Lings. But one of the plus sides here is I'm keeping the opponent at home. Yes, I lost those units, but I did force these, basically the opponent to just stare at their own base. Which means my base is looking pretty chill. Pretty safe and comfy. And I'm adding in some spines here. The reason I'm making spines is because LingBane is kind of fragile. And if they hit me with a ground push, I would like to have something to supplement the LingBane. Also give the Queen something to transfuse. The Ling at that 4th base location scouted the base, killed the probe. We're getting 2/2 upgrades here. We have Mutas coming out. And what am I doing with my extra minerals? I'm still spamming Queens. I have a bunch of Lings going up here by the 4th base. And now, if you look at the mini-map, I have a 2-prong attack set up. These lings can cancel this base. These banes, flap. Just busted down the wall. We're giving our opponent homework now. They have to rebuild stuff. And their fourth base is in a pretty bad spot. I have 72 workers, 16 mutas, 13, up to 14 queens now. So what was the mistake that I made in the ESL Americas Open that caused the attack not to work? I overcommitted to Muta and then I went into Corruptor. And Mutas and Corruptors don't really synergize that well together. They do different jobs. Mutas are really good at killing probes. Corruptors are good at killing buildings and massive units. So they're not really successful in the same departments. So my goal here was to make 20 Mutas. I even wrote this down in my notes. And then to rush Hive for Ultra Viper. And then just spam queens. Because this is the meta. The Mutas show up at the base. And now the Protoss is getting punished for having all of their stuff in one basket. They have Archon, Void Ray, Zealot. Anytime Zealots run into the main base to chase your Mutas, that's a win. Because those Zealots could have been harassing my base. But they're not. We have some Banes over here. That's great. LingBane trading with Archons, is that good? Not really. It's not a great trade, but if you look at this number right here, it's fine to take kind of shitty trades for yourself because my economy is enormous and theirs is a poop scoop. So that's what it's all about, is getting ahead and then leaning into the opponent's army just with whatever units you can trade out, and then think about your remax as being a little bit stronger than your current setup. I have LingMutaUltraQueen right now, which is pretty flimsy. So what I want to pivot into here is something that's pretty thick. What is the thickest Zerg unit you can think of? Adrenal. I don't have enough minerals.
새로운 여왕, 군단 병력이 공격받고 있음.
I have those queens over there to deal with any Void Ray flyby. Vipers are out. These can do Parasitic Bomb on the Void Rays. I made 6 of them. Look at the spines. Nice anchor. And now that the opponent is out on the map, the Mutas swoop in. Just looking for some damage. A cool thing you can do mechanically is just hit the hold position button or right click some probes. That way the Mutas don't just aggro onto the cannons and stuff. You don't really want Mutas hitting cannons if they have the choice to hit probes instead. So the opponent made a couple Phoenixes, which is great. Phoenixes are terrible units to have in a max out. And I'm not making any more Mutas. They basically did their job. But you didn't kill the Protoss, that's true. But we did force this. And if you do some quick thinking about this, this is 300 minerals that could have been Zealots killing me. This is 300, 600, 900, 1,050 minerals in cannons at this base that could have been a ground army crashing into this base. But it's not, because we're forcing the Protoss to pay heavy rent on their bases. Oh my goodness. 15 Void Rays versus 16 Queen, 6 Viper. Protoss isn't dead though. They do still have the condition of getting up to a really good 200 supply. Max out. And since their probe count is low, their army value is going to be really high. I have 79 workers. And I don't really want to fight that off creep. So I'm trying to fall back to my spine anchor. Fall back, queens. I want to try to get an open spot where I can take a fight. LingBane is going in. There's a High Templar. The Banes kill the High Templar super fast on creep. That's splendid. And we have 84 lings. And there's parasitic bomb all over those void rays. So they have to fly away. Fantastic. But still the proton is not dead. There are 50 probes. So we're trying to send lings around, make sure things are injected. And I'm maxed. I have more of a gas bank. I'm way ahead in supply. I just messed up all my hotkeys, so I had to F2 and then reorganize stuff. Oops. The burrow. Burrow is a really good upgrade to get. It's the cost of 1 muta, but you can keep their expansion delayed for a super long amount of time. They need an observer, an oracle revelation, or a cannon to be able to clear that ling. Or they could storm it, which they probably don't want to do. But they could. Nice thing about having upgraded lings is once you have +2 melee, your banes won't hit workers. So let's just take a quick perusal of the workers killed. We've killed 44 probes. Can't believe I only lost 1 drone this game. It's kind of crazy. He was that first adept. Taking a 6th base now. And this is the brutality of the Baneling hammer. Banelings deal bonus damage to buildings. So if you see the Protoss like camped on tons of static defense, you could just bash Banelings into it. You are trading gas for minerals, but Banelings with upgrades trade pretty okay against buildings. It's not the worst. So now I have ultras. My max out is looking pretty good. 54 lings with heavy upgrades, 37 banes, 2 ultras, 6 viper, 15 queen. And the creep is denying that left base. So my opponent is stuck. And I have the bigger bank. And I'm maxed. Still a bunch of voids though. But once again, the Baneling hammer just bashes in. And I'm going for probes and buildings. Excellent. And then I can make more banes and do it again. Cool thing about LingBane is you can spike up your army value super fast. Nice feedback there. High Templar have more range than Viper, for some reason, which means you are going to get feedback sometimes. But if you have enough Vipers and if you come in from a good angle, you can still get some good value. Banes into Archons though, Neuro. I don't care. I'm remaxing now. I have 76 workers. And I'm making Corruptors. This was also in my notes, and I told Apoptosis about this last night. Going from Mutas into Ultra Viper into a Corruptor switch eventually. I didn't make any Corruptors up to this point, but now all of a sudden I have over 20 of them. And they have the upgrades that I was getting for the Mutas. And I have 3/3 for the ground. And I have a Nidus. And I can use that Nidus to delay that base, kind of similar to a Burrowed Ling. Why not? It generates creep. Something to do. 95 lings, and I'm maxed again. So what's the theme here? Did we just make a stronger army and then bonk the Protoss and win? No. We made a thick base of queens, spores, and some defense and creep, so that I wouldn't die to their attacks. But then, I'm using fast units to force the Protoss to run around, and I'm wounding their probe count, killing their static. Boom. Bash and kill a whole bunch of buildings. Hell yeah. Burrow those. Why not? Taking this base too. 3 ultras. I made some more Vipers. I have a bunch of Corruptors. Let's go, dude. You wanna fight? I have options. I have a whole bunch of different kinds of tech. And I'm gonna keep hammering that base with banelings until the game is over. The best way for them to defend that is to use their army, but they don't want to do that. Because they want to try to win. So I saw the zealots doing that. So I just send one safety ultra over there to the right. One ultra with full upgrades trades really well against zealots. And as ultra was already in position. Lings fully surround the High Templar. And they're basically out of gas now. And that's a game. So that's a LingBaneMutaUltraViper with a bunch of queens into a corruptor switch kind of a style. Where the theme is you want to make sure you have a fuckload of queens so you don't just die to the voids. You get a bunch of melee upgraded lings, which means you can punish the Protoss every time the Void Rays leave their home base. And you also punish the heavy investment in air early on. If the Protoss went for Colossus, say for example, instead of this, that LingBane stuff would be kind of bad. But we saw Void Ray first, and then we saw a whole bunch of Void Rays later, which meant LingBane into Queen Ultra Corruptor Viper was a good bet. I recommend this style on big maps. Let's just look at the workers killed for fun. Nice. What are my upgrades at the end? Upgrades. Upgrade complete. Chitinous, Burrow, Ling speed, Bane speed. +2 melee, +3 armor, +1 range attack for the queens, +2 air attack, and ultra speed. You'll love to see it. I forgot Overlord speed. You're scared of using Mutas though. They're going to die. Whenever you go for a Muta style and you're transitioning to something else, they will die. But they can die gloriously in battle, killing probes, forcing the Protoss on their half of the map, while you can spam queens, get your Hive tech, and get ready to kick their ass at home. So it buys you time. This has been a public service announcement on things that Zerg can do against the Protoss menace. Thank you, and good luck.